Since 2008, I've run over 5,000 events and hosted well over 1 million people. This podcast is for event planners, marketers, and the industry's brightest minds. My name is Nick Field. This is the Professional Partier Podcast. You can follow me at Nicholas John Field on all your major social networks. If you're looking to get into the bar management field, this is the episode for you. We have Las Vegas bar manager Danny Lynch talk to us about his story and how he went from being a patron to the manager and the operator of Las Vegas's newest bar. You'll find out the qualities that are needed to become a general manager, the skills that you have to have as a general manager to be successful, and the one secret that every manager needs to keep their bar busy. If you find this interesting, the only way for us to grow the channel and the podcast is for you to subscribe and give us a good rating. So please, if you find this helpful, please do subscribe, rate us, and forward this to a friend who may be interested. Enjoy. Hey, I'm Nick. Welcome to the Professional Cardio Podcast. Today, I have my guest, my bar manager for Raised by Wolves, Danny Lynch. Danny Lynch.
Hey.
Welcome to the show. This is show number 1, so thanks for coming on.
Well, dude. I appreciate you inviting me.
Yeah, man. We actually tried this episode probably 6 months ago?
It was like 6 months ago.
Yeah, we didn't have video. I did have. I think
you had your iPhone, and we tried to. Was it your iPhone?
It didn't work out. I can tell you definitively that didn't work.
It didn't work out.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I never heard anything from it. So number 1, here we are.
Right on. Cool. So why don't you tell me about how you got into the nightlife industry? Like, start from scratch. How did all roads lead to today?
Well, to be honest, I had no intentions at all of being in this industry whatsoever. I went to college, graduated, ended up finding myself at a bunch of downtown bars because essentially I just didn't have any friends here in Vegas. I'm originally from Houston. So I found myself hanging out at all these downtown bars, and this bartender happened to really like me. And he was taking care of me, whatever. And he had to go use the restroom. Goes and uses the restroom. He asked me to stand behind the bar and act like, I worked there. There was nobody else in the bar but us.
Yeah.
So I was like, I can do this. Bartend for no one all day. Yeah. I just pour myself a drink, right? And lo and behold, he leaves.
Left the bar.
He went to the bathroom. He just went to the bathroom. That's all it was.
Yeah.
And 3 couples walk in. And they order drinks. And I'm at this point, I'm a this and that bartender. Vodka, cran. If you can tell me the ingredients in the drink when you say it out loud to me, all day. But once you start going into the names, the Cosmos and this or that, I have no idea. So they walk in, and for the most part, they were all well cocktails, vodka, crayons, whiskey, cokes, whatever. But someone threw me just for a ringer, and I didn't know what it was.
Right.
I was like, but you know who does? Google. And they were so down with that. And I was explaining to them that the bartender.
Did you say that to them?
Yeah, 100%. Nice. I did. Yeah, man. And they love that. They're like, yeah, hell yeah, man. You're here by yourself. you don't even work here. The bartender just told you to stand behind the bar all day. Run it. Right so on. I make them their drink and I put it across the bar. And I just wrote down on a piece of scratch pad or whatever. And I was like, this drink, this drink, this drink. And then I described the people on it. And I was like, guy with hat. Vodka, cranberry, whiskey, coke, and then did that whole bit. The bartender comes back 15 minutes later, right?
That's a long bathroom break to leave your bar to somebody that you've barely.
Also, introduction to this industry, being from Houston, Texas, living in Las Vegas, that wasn't a regular bathroom break. So,
sure.
So that wasn't a regular bathroom break. That was a Huntridge Tavern bathroom break.
Sure.
Yeah. You know. But he comes back and he's just eyes are lit up like this. And he's like, wow, man, you got guests? You serve them drinks. That's awesome. I was like, yeah, I wrote everything down on this little scratch pad. It's right next to the register. And he's like, cool. He throws me $20 and then he comps my tab for the rest of the night.
Nice.
And this was one of my regular bars again. So the next day I get a phone call from that bar and they asked me to come back, actually to work. I was like, well, I get off at my day job at 5, so I could be there at 6. All right on, let's do it. and then I get called again and again and again. And from there, I just went from bar backing to bartending to the general manager of the venue. And
you
that
became
was
general manager of that venue?
within 2 months. Yeah, within
Wow.
2 months of being there and having zero experience like behind the bar.
Wow. How did that progression of being a bartender to being the
Just
general
demeanor and understanding the customers. Obviously, like my hospitality, like expertise is like bar none. Like, anyone that frequents any bar that I've been to can, explain that like in thorough detail. Like I have regulars for a reason.
What?
But I just was a people person, and I was stuck in like a desk job where I couldn't talk to people. So I was just over the top, like always.
The person that was behind the bar that allowed you to bartend, was that the manager at the time?
No, he was just a regular bartender.
Okay.
Which is actually kind of funny. When I became the GM there,
Yeah.
he
You had to
quit.
fire him for
No.
allowing
He
that
actually quit.
insanity?
No, he quit because I became his GM, and then I ended up getting a call to go to a different bar, and he was that same guy, that same bartender that actually got me my foot in the door, was bartending at that new bar that I went to bartend, and then I became the GM there within a couple months, and he ended up quitting that job because same thing.
Right.
Young buck took over, and he wasn't too keen on that.
Right.
But it was just a pride thing. Great bartender, love him to death. We're still friends to this day. But
So what is it about you that got you a position being a general manager?
just leadership qualities, man. At the end of the day, the way that I approach my leadership when it comes to anything, really, like even from home life, to like a work structure like this, is I don't ask anybody to do anything that I wouldn't do myself. If there is something that needs to be cleaned up, if it's right in front of me, I'll do it. Someone throws up, dude, I'll grab the kitty litter and throw it on, sweep it up. It's all good. Again, I show and prove. I lead by example, and that was one of the big things that got me my foot in the door as far as management goes. Again, I just think that if I do it, and I believe this, if I do it, then you should be able to do it as well.
Sure.
There's no excuses at that point. So I'm not afraid to get my hands dirty, and that's something that I've actually seen you do as well. I've seen you clean some dirty toilets with some gloves on.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
But again, and that encouragement, goes a long way with your employees, and I just don't plan to ever not have that same mentality when it comes to any job that I have. It's just important to me.
So when you got your position as a general manager, obviously the current general manager that was there got the axe. Did he leave?
He actually, so now we're going into a little bit more deeper of how I jumped behind that bar. So I ended up becoming the GM because that original GM of that bar where I jumped behind the bar went to another bar.
Okay.
And that next bar that he went to was the one that I got the phone call to go bartend at.
Okay.
And then I ended up taking his job.
I see.
So I followed him, and that was a big root of why I ended up maintaining myself in the industry, was because of that GM.
Yeah.
And still a great friend to this day. He's actually doing things right now for Area 15.
Yep.
I think you've actually met him.
What's his name?
I'll name drop you.
Yeah, name drop.
Joe Love. I see you, baby.
Yeah.
But he's a big reason why I got in the industry and maintained it. He's actually jumped behind the bar here before, we were so busy. He's like, "You need help?" He's like, "I got you, little bro."
Nice.
And I was like, "Yeah, I could use some help." And without just any flicker of doubt, jump behind the bar, started slinging drinks first nature, because that is what it is with him.
Yeah.
He used to be a flair bartender at TGI Fridays. I'll tell everyone that, I swear to God. He was a flair bartender at TGI Fridays.
What is it that makes a general manager good? You talked about leadership, but what makes a general manager good, and what makes a general manager good?
Well, obviously the leadership, qualities are there. I think that your ability to adapt to situations, there's never one day that's going to be the same, and being able to be a problem solver when these problems do arise, or when you are in a pickle, being able to get yourself out of it. I think being able to be empathetic with, the situation at hand. Like, there's a lot of different scenarios with there's a lot of personalities and a lot of different individuals that everybody has to be. I'm not saying that you treat everybody the same way, but everybody has to have like their own little character chart that you have to adapt to and figure them out, and organizational skills. There's a lot of things, but I think like the biggest thing is being able to be a problem solver on the fly, especially in this industry. Like, again, I could have one day where we have 1,000 guests come through the door, and the next day, out of those 1,000 guests, maybe 50 of them are from the night previous, and I get another 950 different guests. So I'm dealing with all different personalities, all different type of drinking type individuals. It's always on the fly. You got to think on your feet, and I think that's really important. Especially, I think in any industry, is like being able to adapt. And I find myself very capable of doing that, like actually exceptional at doing that on the fly. I'll be behind the bar, I'll make you a drink, I'll jump on this side of the bar, I'll bounce someone out of here, I'll check IDs, I'll run the cashier at the front door, I'll clean up the vomit, whatever it may be, I'll restock, the bathrooms, whatever it may be. There's a lot of different hats you have to wear, and that's another thing, is being able to wear a lot of different hats. You are not just, the law that's being laid down, the gavel. You have to be able to wear a lot of different hats and be able to exceptionally be present in all different scopes of work that are involved in that company.
Yeah, that actually leads me to my next question, which is like, exactly what is the role of a general manager at a bar?
Hey, you walk into this bar, I want you to know that I am everywhere. I am your host, I am your bartender, I am their security guard. You wear a ton of different hats so that you are synonymous with the brand. Like, when people think of Raised by Wolves, it is very evident. Obviously, Mike and yourself are, as ownership, you guys get that synonymous, sentencing that comes up. But aside from that, Danny, Raised by Wolves. They know that I'm here. They see that I'm doing every single role here. I'm hosting and I'm working my butt off. You have to wear every single hat under this building, in any management job behind a bar, and it's very rewarding. It feels good. There's different days that a little bit lower than others, but for the most part, man, it's just like, you're here to give the guests the best experience possible, and whether it's you're serving up a drink or just checking their ID and just cracking a joke about like, hey, you're from Iowa, like, we don't have Miller, and they like, haha, that's what I was gonna ask, and then that's enough for me. But again, it's just wearing different hats and being synonymous with your venue.
You're talking a lot about the what I kind of interpret to be the guest experience. When you have to wear all these hats, you have to jump here, you have to jump there. Mm-hmm. What does it take to actually run a bar? Like, if somebody wanted to open up a bar and they didn't, and let's say they buy a bar and they are now the general manager of their own bar and they've never done this before, what do they need to do as the manager to make the place hopping?
Just know where you obviously like started your bar up, like know the surrounding venues, know the clientele that frequents the venues around you. Location is obviously everything, and even like with us, like we're tucked away, but there's a ton of different bars around us that are local bars. So then also differentiating yourself. Are you going to be a local bar? Are you going to be a club? You catering to tourists? Like, what is your end game? What is your focus clientele? That's probably the biggest thing, is like focusing on like who you want your clientele to be. But I would say, yeah, man, like location and focusing on clientele, like picking the right groups to come in.
How do you do that? How do you focus on clientele?
Focus on just going out there and getting in the mix yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, you need to get out, go next door, go one street over and like visit a bar and like people watch.
Yeah.
You know, like that's gonna be the game changer for you, is just like knowing who's going to these bars around you. Because again, like we are in a tourist destination city, like a premier tourist destination city, where we won't have the same customers every single night. The ones that are going to keep coming back are going to be the locals, the people that frequent these bars every night, or a couple times a night, that live here. So recognizing what they're drinking, what music is playing in these venues, even down to like what they're wearing. Like maybe they're wearing like hipster clothes or like dark goth stuff. Like they're probably looking for a darker venue or somewhere that they can unwind a little bit more than they're at right now. Some people look uncomfortable when they go to bars because it's not their scene, but they go because of another friend. Even getting yourself involved in conversations at these other bars, like, hey, what's up, guys? Like, where you guys from? And just insert yourself into these situations where you can get a vibe, like, A, make new friends, but B, I'm trying to open a bar down the street. Like,
Yeah.
we'll figure it out. Insert yourself into the local clientele and like in the network.
Nice. Let me ask you a little bit more about like the day-to-day operations. So, as a general manager, you need to select the DJ,
Correct.
right? You need to select security, yeah. You need to select bartenders. So, lots of people want to be a bartender at a bar, especially like a hop-in bar, and you are selecting the bartender. How do you select your bartenders?
So, with my bartender selection, again, this being a brand new bar on Fremont, my selection was based on network, clientele, knowing that when this bartender makes their way in, they're going to be followed up by all their regulars that used to frequent their bars, right? So I like tenure. I like, speed, volume, capabilities. Craft is obviously a plus during the daytime when we do that. But like my biggest thing is with bartenders, you gotta have some pizzazz, man. Like I want to have that personality shine first before that cocktail even gets thrown down.
Yeah.
So you sell any individual just on your personality off that first approach, that first interaction, and then the drink follows. You can make the shittiest drink, and just based off of, hopefully they don't make shitty drinks, but you can make the shittiest drink and someone will be like, yo, that bartender was rad. But that first impression, like I need to feel that like when I'm in an interview process with someone that I'd like to be on, like just like we're on this side of the table of each other, like I would like to be on this side of the bar if this was a bar from you, because this guy is like an amazing like person. Like this guy is like he's funny, he's got charisma, he has ambition. He's gonna rock this. And obviously again, like the knowledge and everything when it comes to like being behind a bar is like a big pointer as well.
Right.
But again, with a brand new bar, especially tucked away, we're a little bit hidden, a little speakeasy type joint. Definitely want someone with a little bit more of a following.
Yeah.
To jump behind the bar, so they're following.
Well, what do you do if somebody is new to the industry and they want to get into the industry? Like, do you just not hire them, or do you just say to them, figure it out, or like, what's their process?
No. Like anybody that's trying to get in the industry, like if they ask me and they drop a resume, they're trying to like break away. We actually got a really cool program with that, with our server program. We bring in new folks to come and like serve. And then from there, obviously they're learning the cocktails and they're learning the drinks as they're bringing them in. And then in turn, kind of like it's a cocktail server. So she can learn these drinks as she goes.
Yeah.
And eventually, after repetition of like ringing them in and understanding what each drink looks like and just like watching the bartender make them, then in turn that's going to lead to a bartender position. But if I get someone that just walks up, out of the blue and drops a resume off and just has zero experience.
Does that not work?
Well, I will never not give someone the right information to get them, in the direction, give them a shot. So it may not work here, but that's not to deter anyone from getting into the industry. A lot of folks are, green, and I totally get that because I was too. So what I do with that is I give them the info of like, different temp agencies or different like festival bartending is good introductory to bartending as well.
Yeah.
Even if you start off as like a bar back or a cocktail waitressing or something like that, eventually it's going to all lead to the same route of you being behind the bar, bartending and in control of your environment with booze.
Yeah. So you seem to have gotten a bit of a jump start, like by sitting in a bar one day and then some guys like, hey, why don't you just go bartend?
I did not get like the whole run around like most folks in the city would get for sure.
I remember the first time that I ever worked in a nightclub. I was living in Gold Coast, Australia, and I was just looking for random jobs.
Party college town, man.
It's not a college town, but Gold Coast, Australia is definitely a party town. I was living in Gold Coast, and I needed a job. And a guy said to me, hey, you can go be a glassy, which is basically like a bar back.
Like polishing glass? Is that like
yeah, they call them glassies in Australia. Yeah, everything is like okay. E, like Bundaberg rum is called Bundy, and like
bartendy.
More or less, yeah. So they hired me as a glassy, and I remember it was my job to just go around with a towel and clean up spills on the ground. That was my job. And what you do is you drop the towel on the ground and you like kind of swoosh it around with your foot, and they call it the glassy shuffle. And I would just go around and I'd take drinks off the tables, and that was it. And I remember I did that for a couple weeks, and it wasn't my favorite job for sure. But after a couple weeks, then they asked me if I wanted to bar back and actually help them behind the bar and start moving stuff around. And then I did that for a couple weeks, and then finally they asked me if I wanted to bartend. I left before I had the opportunity to bartend, but there was definitely like a hierarchy that I was starting to climb. I think that's a good way for people to break into
expeditious.
The industry. Yeah, no, it makes sense. It makes sense. So I think that if somebody's trying to get into the industry, one of the things they can do is go for one of the crappy jobs. Like go into a bar and say, let me clean your toilets. Let me clean up the bar when it's messy. Because if you show ambition and you show responsibility, then the bartenders are going to see that. The manager's going to see that. You're going to go from being a bar back to, or a glassy, doing the glassy shuffle, cleaning toilets, to being a bar back. And then eventually you can work your way up. Do you think that's fair?
Yeah, no, 100%. Like, if you
skipped that.
I did skip that, but hey, that's not to say that I haven't had shitty jobs. Like, like we all have. What was your first job?
Painting and window cleaning, and it sucked. I hated it.
Okay. Subway.
Nice.
Subway. There's another camera there. Subway, it actually wasn't too bad. I mean, I was 16.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Your friends come into Subway. You load them up, and like I get it.
It's like double me.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, I don't double charge you. Like, yeah, it was all right, man. It was all right, but man, the visors and like the shirt, I hated it. It sucked. I felt like it was very like I felt demoralized. Like I was like,
why?
I just something about that's only in fast food job that I've ever held.
Yeah. Well, it's fast food.
Not taking it like Subway, but like I'll grab a sandwich any day. But
working fast food is not working in a bar. Like it's black and white.
It wasn't, and that was like my first. So I went from doing that to detailing cars.
Nice.
And then I went to school, and didn't work all throughout school. And then my very next job during school was I was working at a fine dine restaurant. Actually, what brings me to that, when you mentioned glassy, I worked as a polisher.
Yeah.
All I did was polish silverware. That's it, just in the back. And I had all these folks, servers and food runners and bussers, and I was like the low of the low. Like, it was like, I felt like even the dishwasher was above me, because the dishwasher would be like, here's your shit, like, go polish this.
Yeah.
Just be polishing silverware. I'm loud all the time in this hallway, just like talking to all the servers, all the food runners, just still polishing my silverware. And just like, man, I got more personality than all these guys. Like, are they even making money up front? I don't know. But I know they got clean silverware.
There you go.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, I knew I was doing my job, but it was just like, it was crazy to me to think that I was like back there. And eventually, they moved me up, and then I started bussing and then food running. And after that, I ended up going to bartending and whatnot. And that was like right around the time that like I finished school, and then did my whole bit, and then took over for that one venue, that first venue.
Yeah, because you're professionally trained as an accountant, right?
Yes.
Yeah, talk a little bit about that, and like the decision that you made to not go in the accounting field and to be in the entertainment industry.
I made a very conscious decision to not pursue that, solely based off of network. Just not having a network, not having like a friend base, not having like, basically like, I was here in Vegas like, and didn't really have like a crew to like hang out with. And my coworkers and everything were substantially older.
In the accounting field.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it was just like, okay, cool. And then that's kind of like what led me to go into that bar.
Yeah.
And making friends. And then from there, I fell into it.
Yeah.
And I fell into it, and I was like, man, this is like more my speed. Like, these guys are like closer to my age, and it's like a faster life. It wasn't like desk ridden. It felt more home than I felt like I was skipping a lifetime by doing what I was doing before I jumped behind a bar.
Yeah. How old were you when you jumped behind the bar?
22.
Nice.
22.
Nice.
So yeah, it was like right off the get. But yeah, no, I felt like I skipped a lifetime with that gig being behind a desk.
Nice. So tell me a little bit about tips. Like, how much money can you make bartending? At a place like, how much money can you make bartending at a place like this? It fits about 50, 60 people, gets busy on Fridays and Saturday nights, Thursday nights. Like,
trying to report me to the IRS, man? What's up, man? I was like, you got all these cameras on me, dog. Like, I'll put it this way. The capacity here is very minimal. It's 1,800 square feet. Our capacity is what, 50 folks or so?
Yeah, about that.
I live comfortable.
Yeah.
And if I want, I grab it. I don't price check.
Yeah.
I just like, if I want it,
Sure.
I grab it.
Sure.
But I will say, in other venues, not here, larger venues, like I think like a good baseline, if you're walking out of a shift with less than, like a daytime shift, like less than like, $100, $200, like, either you're not putting in that effort to guerrilla market yourself and
Yeah.
putting your name out there, or B, it's just a slow bar. It is what it is.
What can people do? What can bartenders do to make more money?
You got to spend money to make money.
Sure. Tell me about
100%. Again, like we were mentioning before, when you're opening a bar, you have to throw yourself in the mix into that local clientele. You got to go to the neighboring bars and see what they're doing. And also that includes, throw a couple bucks this way, that way. Get everyone excited for the fact that you're brand new, you're the new kid on the block, and in turn, they'll come visit you in the beginning.
Yeah.
As a bartender, same concept, like spend money to make money. You have to get out of your regularities of wherever you're a barfly at. If you go to this one bar all the time and you're not seeing them show up to support you, man, like, you got to keep it pushing. I'm not saying don't keep frequenting that bar. That's home base. Do that. But start branching out. Go to other bars. Like, introduce yourself. And one of the things that I do very, very, very often is I shamelessly promote myself everywhere I go. Whether I'm wearing a Raised by Wolves shirt, Raised by Wolves hat, even if they don't notice that and ask, yo, what is that? Like, that's a really cool shirt, really cool logo on your hat. It's me introducing the conversation, saying like, oh, like, hey, like, your service was awesome. If I was like at a restaurant, like, if you ever get an opportunity, come check me out. I'm over at Raised by Wolves on Fremont Street. First round's on me. I'll shamelessly do that everywhere I go. It doesn't matter where I'm at. I'll do it in a drive-thru. Like, I tell everyone, to the point now where we have created a program for our bar staff that they can do that with little first one on me cards.
Sure.
You just have to be promoting yourself at all times. And also, like, if you're promoting yourself and where you're at, I would hope that you're promoting yourself not just because you want to make money, but because you're proud of where you're working at.
For sure.
Like, I want you to be excited that you're coming to work, knowing that, oh, I talked to like, 30, 40, 50 people this week and gave out these cards. And then in turn, this next shift is going to be a banger because they know that I'm going to be working, and then, have that expectation of them to show up. Social media is huge. Social media is massive. You should be always on your social media telling people, hey, look, I'm going to be working this shift, blah, blah, blah. It can get tedious for the folks that are like on your feed all the time. Like, damn it, Danny, I know you're working.
Yeah.
We get it. But that's not the point. The point is it's going to reach the folks that aren't normally looking at your feed as much as, your regulars may do. Social media is huge. Another thing that you can personally do besides, the outreach outside of work with, like, telling people like, hey, like, I'm going to be at work this coming weekend, like, come check me out, is personally getting in your phone and texting people.
Yeah.
So sending out a personal text message like, hey, Nick, come check me out, man. I'm going to be at work tonight from 9 p.m. till 5 a.m. I'd love to see you there. Now it's like they scrolled past your, social media feed.
Yeah.
And they know that this is like this, you're doubling down right now on them. They scroll past it. They know that you're working, but now they see this and they're like, shit, he made the effort to actually text me.
Oh, yeah.
Fuck it. I'll come check you out.
Just a little bit of outreach will go so far.
Yeah.
So
And even
far.
if it's not that day, the fact that you did that, it's going to resonate in their minds, whether, again, if it's not that night, day, whatever it may be, they might come out the next night or next weekend. But the fact that you made that effort to personally reach out to them, and it wasn't just like a social media post that was out to all your followers,
Yeah.
they're going to be more susceptible to at least, like, reciprocate that in some way or another, even if it's just a response like, hey, I'm busy.
When you are behind the bar and you've got the bar filled with people, what can you do to make your tips better?
Just quick, prompt service.
Yeah. Blow them a kiss.
I will not blow them a kiss. If we're that busy, like, I'm just transaction, but I promise you're going to get your drink as quick as possible. And I will do everything in my ability to make it a fun experience as well. You see us behind the bar, we're dancing, we're laughing, we're juggling stuff, we're throwing bottles back and forth to each other. Like, we're in a mode. But, like, yeah, when the bar is like shoulder to shoulder, 2-3 deep, it's just important to get that prompt service out there. Like, now, where you really shine, and again, like, these are customers like that, they'll get a little bit of your personality and all that, but really what they want is, their drinks. And then when you get those down times, once you get everyone's drinks in their hands, or a majority of them, and, you're taking your rounds up and down the bar and, checking on everyone, this is your chance to actually, like, kind of build that clientele network by interacting with them, being like, yeah, man, that shit was fucking crazy, right? Like, blah, blah, blah. And like, bring each other to that same level of like understanding and having those conversations with folks. Again, you can't do it like in the heat of the moment, but once it does like dwindle out a little bit, like you definitely want to like still try to have like these conversations intermittently with these customers. It's a little different during the daytime. Every single customer that walks in here, walks in any bar, hey guys, what's up? My name is Danny. I'm going to be your bartender tonight. Here's our drink menu. Give that a look-see. If you guys know what you guys want, I got you. If not, if you need a couple moments, I'll be right back. I make sure that every single person knows my name, and I have that first table touch or bar touch, if you will. So it's a personal moment. In the evenings, like in the volume, like you can't do that. Hi, I'm Dan. Like it's just not going to work out.
Right.
It's just, volume, capacity like that. It's just transaction. But intermittently, you do want to try to sprinkle in some of the LOLs and, have your personality shine a little bit, but you don't get as many opportunities as you do like in, a small, like a slower atmosphere, like at the beginning of the night or,
For sure.
in the daytime.
For sure.
But
Cool.
just get their drinks out as quick as possible.
Nice. What makes a bar awesome? What makes a bar awesome?
I think that I can walk into any bar and get the exact same fucking drink
Right.
anywhere.
Right.
It's true. I can get the same drink anywhere I go. Give or take, different price points, whatever.
Sure.
I think what makes a bar awesome is its staff.
Yeah.
I truly believe that the stars of the show, you could have the best cocktail in Las Vegas, in the world even, but if your selling factor isn't your staff being like top tier, the most charismatic, performing individual, like no one cares. So if I'll get 1,000,000 vodka cranberries, but I promise you, like, I'll get that one person that's like, yo, this is the best vodka cranberry ever. And it's like, you get that anywhere, but the only reason they're saying that shit is because of me. They're here and they come back for the staff. I think that is quintessential in any bar that is operating, is just having that staff that is going to kill it. And that goes from people behind the bar to the DJ. The DJ is a part of our staff. Obviously that, alludes into the entertainment, music and all that. But I think the staff is like quintessential. I think that the bar wouldn't be what it was without like someone actually having that gall to take on the workload of making this bar their business. Any bartender, it's their business. They're bringing in people and you get a couple, granted, the business owner will give them all the tools that they need, but the bartender has to make this their business to excel. And if they can't, put on a show, then shit, someone will.
Yeah.
And I'll find them.
Yeah. What's the craziest thing that you've seen in your entire career of bartending?
I got a couple.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Let's see. Scene? Oh man, my beauty bar heads are gonna love this. So there was an event that we used to have at God damn it. There was an event that we used to have at Beauty Bar. It's called Beat Battles. Anybody watching this that remembers, shout out DJ Shakespeare. Anybody who remembers these events, they were pretty wild. So basically it was a hip hop night and they'd have like DJs that were competing against each other with like, different beats that they created. And in between the DJs that were competing, they would have hip hop artists, local hip hop artists that would perform, right? And it was a Sunday night and it's on YouTube. I'll show you later after this. I won't show you guys. You guys can look it up. But there was a gal, these two gals were like twerking or doing whatever hippity hop dance that they were doing on the stage. And this girl completely drops her bottoms off, gets on the ground and starts fingering herself on stage in front of a packed bar. And I want to say that the girl that she was with got down on all fours and started entangling herself in the situation as well. And again, this is like packed bar. And I was so in shock. I'm like, I can't break that up. Not because I I shouldn't. No, because I should, but like these girls are naked.
Yeah.
And there's no way. So luckily we had one female security guard.
Yeah.
That was working.
Yeah. Yeah.
Brenda, you're a fucking champion. So I go and grab her and I was like, hey, so there's these two girls fingering themselves on stage. Can you what? It's like,
Yeah, because that's like super illegal. Yeah.
yo, for sure.
Yeah. You can definitely.
That bar's closed now, so there's nothing that can be done now.
Okay,
but
all right.
Yeah.
I was gonna say maybe we shouldn't go there because
No,
beauty bars we get in trouble,
it's closed.
Beauty,
Yeah,
beauty
it is
bars
closed.
Okay.
So she goes over there, and watching her break that up
Oh yeah, that would
was just the greatest thing ever. She's like, "What am I doing?" It's like everything.
Yeah.
Like literally everything. So that's definitely like at the top of the list, dude. I hesitated for like, I honestly, man, we talked about like what makes a, general manager, like, just being able to like solve problems on the fly. I was not on the fly right there because I was not anticipating anything of that sort whatsoever.
Yeah.
I was shocked.
Yeah, that sounds like like spring break 2012.
Dude, it was like the middle of like December.
Oh,
like it was nowhere near any reason to be like partying that hard. That's definitely at the top of the list.
What else have you seen?
Man, I've seen, tons of fights. I've gotten into my fair share of squabbles. Man, I've seen people blatantly, railing lines of blow off the bar top. But in my head, I'm like, I got rid of the evidence. I can't do anything now. So it's just like, whatever. Same bar.
There you go.
So that's closed.
Yeah.
A lot of it is just like squabbles over like the dumbest stuff. I've seen people just get in fights over just the silliest things, like things that shouldn't have even happened. But man, I'm kind of drawing a blank on that, man. I've had a furry parties come through the bar, which was kind of like, and this is like, I want to say it was like because I think like the whole furry thing started like, what, like within the last like 8 years, something like that.
Yeah, it's not been
No.
It's post internet for sure. And
Yeah.
social media, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
I
don't know.
I'm not in the scene, so I can't say
I'm
for
not in the
sure,
scene
but,
either, but it was definitely like, it was probably brought to my attention like, oh shit, this is a thing.
Yeah, it is a thing.
Yeah.
Furry parties are for sure a thing.
It was a thing, but when I saw it in the bar, I was like, why are all these people dressed like this? And there was like about like 25, 30 of them.
Yeah, they have conventions. There are furry conventions where people dress up.
And that's just recent though.
For those that don't know what a furry convention is people that dress up like Pikachu and like a teddy bear, and they walk around and they have like parties and they role play dressed up like in these giant fur outfits. It's ridiculous. But there's a scene for it.
There's a niche for everything, man. Whatever. Like I guess I get it. Like, but they like walked in like super tough, and I was confused.
Yeah.
I was like, what is going on? Like, it's like middle of summer. Like,
what are the best cities you think for bars and clubs and stuff?
Well, clubs, like nightclubs.
Yeah.
Nightclubs, bar none, it's gonna be Vegas.
Yeah.
Nightclubs, there's like not even like any glimmer of a competition, like outside of like Miami. Like I've had like some really good like nightclub experiences there, but like Vegas is just top tier. There's no comparison.
Yeah.
Bars, I mean, it just really depends on like, what you're looking for. I really like Austin. Austin is one of my favorite cities to hit a couple bars on 6th Street or whatever it may be. I love New Orleans. I just went to New Orleans just recently again and had a great time. I love the bar atmosphere there. It's kind of like reminiscent Bourbon Street to like Fremont. It's like you walk into a bar and this person's like, hey man, make sure you go over here and tell so-and-so I said what's up. It's like a very like small like niche community. I really like that a lot. And again, it's like, are you looking for dive bars? Are you looking for ultra lounges? But I would say my top 3 cities outside of Vegas, I'm going to be a little bit partial to that. Top 3 cities, Austin, New Orleans, Miami.
Nice.
Those are my top 3.
Nice.
And then I will give Nashville an honorable mention.
Nice.
That'd probably be that'd be the list for me. What about you? What is
My favorite cities for bars, I would say St. John's, Newfoundland.
It's like far East Coast as you possibly can get on the North American continent, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was gonna say
St. John's, Newfoundland. It's George Street. Then Bangkok, Vegas. I'm trying to think of one more. I need to do more traveling. I haven't done enough traveling in Europe. Europe is supposed to have some pretty dope spots to go, and I haven't been as an adult. I've only gone to Europe as a kid, but I imagine I've heard London's really good. I imagine that Paris has some pretty cool stuff.
we have to take a trip because then I know that I have a DD everywhere I go.
Oh yeah.
But you can experience the life as the professional party that you are.
Yeah.
And I could do the party and
being the designated driver when your friends are partying is actually really fun because you can see the whole world kind of go by you and everybody get progressively more drunk and more drunk and more drunk, and you can see how bars will like deteriorate over time or get better over time, like as places that have it together, and the bartenders aren't going to get like wasted and the DJs don't get wasted, because when a DJ gets wasted, like the music starts to suck, and that's like a very real thing. And
so you got like the anti-beer goggles in the club.
Yeah, totally. You can kind of see. It's interesting being the DD going around, but you can see a lot more, and like you can always go from like part of town to part of town when you're a DD, which is cool. Like I used to take my friends around in Toronto all the time, and we'd start on like the West End, and then we'd DD downtown, and then we'd DD out east, and then I'd DD back downtown, and you can see all these different pockets like throughout the night, so you can see where the best, most hopping parts of town are. It's actually really fun. It's really fun.
It sounds fun on my end. I'm like, hey, as long as you're enjoying yourself, let's go to Europe and you just drive me everywhere.
Yeah, I'm down for that. But I'd say St. John's, Newfoundland is awesome. Like if you haven't been to St. John's, Newfoundland, it is crazy. You go there and the whole town will have like some sort of secret code where if a foreigner comes in, they'll screech you in. So to get screeched in in Newfoundland, they give you this, I think it's vodka, it might be whiskey, but it's gross, and you take a shot of this screech whiskey, and then you have to kiss a fish, and then they'll give you like a certificate that you did it. And that's what they do everywhere, and everybody's so friendly, and they're so...
At all the bars, or like...
Yeah, like the vast majority of bars will do this. Like the big bars, they've got this...
You kiss a fish?
Yeah, you kiss a fish. Yeah, sometimes it's one of like the taxidermy fish that's like up on a plaque, and they'll like pass it around.
Oh, so they're not like pulling like a goldfish out of like a...
It depends where you
go.
go.
No
it
way. That's not real, dude.
Like they'll give you like a dirty like sardine and be like
why do I want to do this so bad?
It's
because I should, right?
Because
I should, right?
It's super cool. I would definitely. Oh, you know what? Halifax. Everything out east is awesome. You go out east, and like the bar scenes out there are cool because it's like it's pub, it's close knit, and they're all just about drinking beer and
for
like,
reference,
whiskey.
He's Canadian, so
Yeah.
I've never been in Canada, so that kind of it's not in my wheelhouse, but I've always wanted to go.
But even at like New England, like you go drinking out in New England, like in Nantucket or like Cape Cod or something like that, you got that same type of vibe. Yeah. I would say the closest thing to St. John's that I can think of in the States would probably be Cape Cod.
No, I want to go to Newfoundland now.
Yeah, it's cool.
No, that's, you know what? The only reason I know, I have a buddy, he's from Newfoundland and Labrador.
Yeah.
And I guess that's like.
Newfoundland is basically the island and Labrador is on the mainland, but it's the same province. That's the name of the province, Newfoundland and Labrador.
I have a friend that's from there, and the only reason that I know of this area and know what it is because I was playing video games online and I played Call of Duty with this dude, and I was like, oh, this guy's pretty good. And I added him, and we've been friends for the last few years. And that's all it is. It's just my buddy like being from there and telling me about all these crazy Canadian stories and like sending like photos. It's just a friend that I met literally from video gaming. That's the only reason I know what Newfoundland is.
Yeah.
Otherwise, like, I mean, why would I care too much about the geography of Canada? To be fair, like
yeah, it's cool out there. My brother had a friend who lived out there, and we went and we visited, and it was wild. I spent like 5 days out in St. John's and ran around and ran amok, and it's super underrated. Halifax, Nova Scotia is also super underrated. They're smaller cities, right? Like St. John's is a small city, small city, but it's super beautiful. And Halifax is definitely a drinking town, and the beer out there is really good. I think that good beer is directly tied to the quality of water, and that is why Canadian beer is so good.
Okay, I'll bite.
Yeah,
I'll bite for sure.
Absorb that.
I mean, like, we can't talk too much about the water we get out here in Vegas or like many places.
We ended up just getting in my house a water purifier that's like $250, and anyway. You don't want that
no, dead Lake Mead.
The tap water is not cutting it anymore.
Dead body water from Lake Mead?
No. Talk to me about Fremont. Like, what's the word down here? Like what makes Fremont cool? Because like Las Vegas over the last several years. Okay, so back up a little bit. I moved here to Vegas in 2011. The first time that I ever came to Vegas was in 2007 or 8, and I stayed at what is now the D, but at the time was Fitzgerald's. And I think I was on Expedia, and it's like, do you want to stay downtown or do you want to stay on the Strip? And I'm like, I want to be in downtown Vegas, don't I? Okay, for those of you that don't know, you don't really want to be in downtown. Like, that's not the Strip. The Strip is a different part of town. Downtown is an area that's a few miles away from the Strip. I was trying to stay at the Strip, but I stayed downtown, and this was like in 2008. And I stayed at Fitzgerald's, now the D, and it was a shithole. Like, it was disgusting. I remember walking outside, and I took one step on Fremont East, and I was literally scared for my life. Like, there were crackheads everywhere. It was sketchy. There was no bars or restaurants or anything like that was in this part of town. And then, so that was my experience with downtown in 2008. And then in 2011, I moved down here, and it wasn't much better, but every year it did get a little bit better. Like Tony Shea from Zappos came out here, I think in like 2013, and then started putting a bunch of money into the rejuvenation of the area.
Beautification project.
Yeah. And it started getting better. And then as like 2013, 2015, 2017, by 2018, like Fremont East was nicer. And then they redid the canopy, and they rebranded a bunch of the hotels down here. And more culture started flourishing in downtown Las Vegas than I'd ever seen before across the whole city. So what's been your experience with the downtown scene? And like, what is it that makes it unique now? And why would somebody be interested in being in the Fremont area?
I'll say like definitely like in the beginning, I saw, that same just ghetto ridden, downtown scene. I remember, trying to, when I first started at that original bar, trying to get friends to come down. And they're like, yeah, no, we're good. Folks were sticking around to their like local neighborhood bars and whatnot. I remember like one of the first concerts, bands that performed at this bar that I was at. There was maybe like total, maybe 6 people in the bar. 5 of them were in the band, and I was the bartender. The band shifted all their gear to face towards the bar, and I basically got serenaded by this one band because nobody came downtown. So it was dead. Like, people just didn't have an interest in it. This is like 2010, right? And with the beautification project, and then obviously like moving onward to the following bar, I got to see, the hype of downtown and see that it was a local, I knew that it was a local, hangout, but from where I was at in the very beginning, it's like more locals started coming out the years, progressing. What it is like tenure, man. Like, we've been here for years. We got bartenders that have been working at some of these bars for like, 10 plus, 12 plus years that folks are going to keep coming back for and coming back for and coming back for. And in turn, that's going to like keep, more guests to, follow suit. But I think that the biggest reason why folks come down here is they want to get away from the monotony of, just this cookie cutter bar lifestyle of like just going to your like regular like casino bar on the strip. Like, feels like almost like everything is scripted. You go to a casino bar, they tell you like, hey, like where's the coolest place to go hang out after this? And it's like they're scripted to tell you to go across the casino floor to another bar. At least that's been in my personal opinion.
What are the coolest places to come downtown Fremont?
We name dropping?
Yep.
Oh, okay. I'll definitely throw Griffin is going to be my watering hole, 100%. Local bar, they've been around for like 18 years, something like that. I consider it the last OG of like Fremont East on that 600 block, 500 block. Griffin is great. Evil Pie, I'll always throw up on Evil Pie. Great pizza. All those guys are definitely local, clientele based. Aside from that, you got Downtown Cocktail Room and Sip and Tip.
Yeah.
Great bar as well, right there. Little speakeasy style right there in Las Vegas and Fremont Street, right on the corner behind Inspire. But those would definitely be my top 3.
Nice.
For just for the local clientele base, it feels like our own episode of Cheers every time you walk in there, and that's kind of my vibe. The other bars down there, just don't do it for me. But everybody has their own flavor. Food, we want to go food on the block.
Yeah, tell me food.
Food, they're doing renovation right now. I think they're open today. I might have to go like make a little venture. They were doing like Let's High, man.
Let's High.
Man.
Let's
High, you do it for me.
So
you guys do it for me. Let's High is my all-time favorite. I have not wavered from them in almost a decade.
As someone who spent a lot of time in Thailand, Let's High is legit food.
It's fire. It's so great. I actually, since like the renovations began like a couple months ago, been sending one of their lead bartenders Rangoon memes. Have you seen the ones that I post online?
Yes, I've seen your Rangoon memes. Yes.
I sent them to him like intermittently, like throughout the week, like, hey man, I ride with them goons, like, but man, I've been waiting for them to open up. I think he told me that they were going to open up couple days ago, so I definitely have to like make my round over there. I think they were like elongating the bar to go the full length of the restaurant, but I have to go see it, grab some food. Shout out Pedro. The food there is phenomenal. Aside from that, on that block, I'll go for a burger at Eureka. Eureka's cool. Like they got like a really really great like very eclectic like whiskey collection, which is cool too if you're into that. I'm a tequila guy.
Yeah, Veggie Nation's dope. Carson Kitchen's dope. Over at the Container Park, Pinch's Tacos.
I like what else do I like? 7th and Carson. Yeah. I do like 7th and Carson. They never fail me like on like a breakfast kick. I'll go over there and grab some food. Liam's the goat. Like, the food is great. I really do like 7th and Carson. Aside from that, downtown, if that's like Fremont, like east. Going back towards this way, like I love Pizza Rock. Pizza Rock's happy hour is fire. Great. I love their happy hour. I also like that their like menu is like vinyl sleeves. So they have like vinyl sleeves, and then their happy hour is actually like on a vinyl. I thought that was pretty neat.
Nice.
Barry's is great inside of Circa, and then if we're still in Circa, then 8 East, which is a sister property of Latai. So, like 8 East as well.
Nice.
It's going to be like pretty similar menu. But yeah, food, like, definitely at the top of the list is going to be Latai. There's not even like a question on that whatsoever.
What would you say to people that are coming to Vegas to party? What are the number 1 and 2 things that they should do?
Number one, I would make it a point, you have to hit Fremont. Like, you have to hit Fremont. You got to hit, like, all these bars. I'm not even saying that because of us. Before this bar was even open, like, this is, like, the A1 location that you have to hit. Like, if you're coming from anywhere, even if you're a local, you have to hit Fremont. Number 2 is, obviously do the Strip, but I always recommend to any of my buddies coming out from out of town, hit a show. There's so many great shows in Las Vegas that, like, we as locals, I'm guilty of this, that we don't take advantage of.
What show do you recommend?
Any of the Cirque shows are great. Shows I've recently seen. I just went and saw the Blue Man Group. Had a good time there. I love O. That's probably at the top of my list for like Cirque shows. Penn and Teller was cool. But it definitely, like, all these shows that like are available, like, take advantage of them. And especially if you are looking for like a time filler in between like a dinner, or maybe you have like a club reservation, at Hakkasan or Omnia, whatever it may be. Put yourself, like, go to a show. The money that you're going to spend on these cocktails or whatever to kill some time, you could spend it on a nice ticket to go see a dope show and double down on your entertainment for the night.
Yeah.
So not saying like I don't want you to spend money here at the bar and like grab more drinks, but there's a ton of shows in Vegas that you can take advantage of. And I think a lot of folks, when they come out here, their only mentality is, I'm going to drink and I'm going to drink, and then I'm going to go to a club, and then I'm going to continue drinking or gamble. And, they kind of lose sight of the fact that we are the entertainment capital, I believe, of the world. And part of that entertainment isn't just you can drink anywhere. You could gamble pretty much anywhere too. You can gamble at home on your computer. Yeah. The entertainment is like, all these artists and concerts and whatnot. Like, we're lucky enough that we just recently got like a stadium over the last few years where they're holding these like stadium concerts. Like, it's awesome. Take advantage of that. I think that's number 1, hit Fremont. Number 2, hit any of the shows that are available here in Las Vegas.
Nice.
That's my 2.
Nice, thanks. Well, thank you so much, Danny. I appreciate you coming in and having this rap with me. That was,
absolutely, man. I appreciate it too.
Yeah, that was dope. We will do it again in the next little while. But yeah, man, thanks.
Yeah,
cool.
Appreciate you, brother.
Cool.